Sure.
Call this meeting to order. Here. Brad's not here, so we'll excuse him, and Kevin's out. So that's us all here today. Move to agenda item number 2, in the oath of office. Since our newly appointed commissioner isn't here today, we're gonna postpone that until next month. So be here. Can't really swear in in person. They're not here to swear in. So that brings us to number 3, which is consent approval of the planning commission minutes from last month, May 10th, 2023. You all need a chance to review them.
Yes, I did.
Yeah. Any questions, concerns?
I motion to approve the minutes of May 10th, 2023.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Okay. That's the names. Okay, this to number 4, which is a discussion or action to approval for the proposed ordinance 540, which amends the CP2 commercial zone height requirements for indoor facilities. So, guys, here's the time for that discussion. I understand you had some comments. This is when we have a hearing of this month.
I would like to have that's all right. You guys.
Mr. King, come up. Sure.
Share with me again, before we discuss again, your full rationale for the.
Can I actually, I've got the building itself, can I show you that? Because it'll like help explain what I'm sure.
See that?
We'll give you permission to.
Can I approach the bench?
Sure. Yes.
Oh, that's that. Okay, so one thing on the left.
Sure.
It's just a JPEG. I can send it to you. Yeah. Yeah, it's JPEG.
Sure. Let's see it. Sorry, easier for people here to see it.
Assuming it's this one.
Can't see it.
Oh,
Exactly. You- First.
Yeah, all right. You have to. You didn't.
My old purpose of asking questions is to make sure that explaining questions, simple project.
Absolutely.
sure. Just
And there's 3 of them.
Everybody can see it.
So go to the second one. So the reason the sidewalls are based, they'll be between 46 and 50. The peak is be the only part that's 70. So I meant to bring that up last meeting because like the comparisons you guys had was these big old block buildings, big old bricks where the basically sidewalls were all 70 feet. Yeah, so it's the profile is a lot different than what you were looking at. So it's not gonna be nearly as ominous as that you think. So the reason that we need that is because this is the ground level. And then this is the field level. So we're coming down here. And the reason that we need this height is because to get from the eave to the ridge, to be able to host an indoor football game, any place can do it right now that has, for passing, running, that kind of stuff. But there's a place in the state indoor that you can have an indoor football game, including the collegiate level for kicking and punting. So basically to have the ground clearance from the field to the bottom of the girders has to be a minimum of 65 to 70 feet. So that's the reason for the height. And so the reason you need the 70 is because you're gonna have probably 12-foot girders. Because this is a 225-foot span to the center from each side. So that's the reason and so it's gaining as it comes up, but right here in the middle, 15 yards in is where you have the numbers. So when they kick or punt, they kick from the numbers or the center on each side. And so I need this side to be 65 feet. And then it goes up from there. So to be able to get that, that's why on each side, from this point in, that point's gotta be 65 feet. That make sense?
And how tall did you say the walls were on each side? 45?
These ones are gonna be about, somewhere, between 45 and 48, somewhere in there. So the sidewalls, actually, like I say, it's not gonna be nearly as ominous as you think. And then, because it's such a long pitch, that's why I'm saying, when you're looking at it, there's nobody that can sit there and say, that's 52 feet or 70 feet. It's such a slow pitch, you can't tell the difference. It's gonna be really hard to do that. And it's gonna be so far from the road. You're in the middle of the field. That point's in the middle of the field. So even from people's homes, the difference is basically, if you're looking at the side and you're looking at the peak, literally, as far as from sitting from the road, you're talking an inch difference visually.
So from your research, how many takers do you think you're gonna get for high school? Because I assume it's just high school, right? It's not arena football stuff, it's just high school, that's that, right?
So yeah, you've got high school. I've talked to the ADs at quite a few of the high schools, and they love the idea because right now it's a totally different game, indoor versus outdoor. And none of these high school players get to feel that until they step up to the next level. So for them to be able to get in and actually practice, play, and in a enclosed environment like that they're going to be stepping up into is huge for them. And then,
obviously you're investing a lot of money. So what kind of commitment are you hearing from coaches and athletic directors that they would even be willing to have games in this facility?
So from the ADs, because right now it'll have to be scheduled in. So it's probably, which is going to be fine because obviously this is going to take, year and a half to build anyway. But what they're talking about is they have to actually schedule it into the system because for the next 2 or 3 years, things are scheduled out. So then they would actually, each place would schedule it in. So this wouldn't be just used by one, like Ogden High. I talked to the people in Davis and Weaver counties about it, and it would basically be a cycle of different schools. But the main thing that we'd be using it for is our own comp leagues. Because I don't know if you guys have any kids for comp football, comp soccer, comp lacrosse, all that stuff. We have the only indoor facility in the entire state that will be able to do that. And then,
Don't get written up.
yeah, there's no raining out, you're not sitting there boiling in the sun. I mean, how many people are sitting there watching their kids play, cooking, wishing you were in air conditioning?
I didn't ever have.
You're lying. So. But so anyway, as far as for kids, I mean, there's a lot of comp soccer leagues. Yeah, comp soccer is huge. We're gonna have the only indoor fields. And I've had, it's kind of funny because the contractors that we're looking at is Salt Lake Construction and Bailey, EK Bailey, you know, and Mark Bailey, his kids play comp soccer, and he's just chomping at the bit. He goes, you don't realize how many of these teams are gonna be calling you, trying to lease your deal. But we're going to have our own comp league, comp team. So that's what's you're bringing a lot to Harrisville. Right now, there's nothing up here. So these teams, you know, you've got to go, you know, on Tuesday, you're practicing in North Ogden. You know, on Thursday, you're practicing in Bountiful.
12th Street.
12th Street.
Or Uinta are the two closest places.
Yeah, so you're all over the place. So that's just for the kids leagues. So then what we're doing is we're gonna be running high school, because you can only have practice 2 hours a day. So we're gonna be running high school leagues for soccer from 4 to 6. And then from 6 till 11:30, or at 6, basically last game would start at 11. We're gonna do adult soccer leagues. Because right now, you got the indoor up in North Ogden. That little tiny place that's really not much bigger than this. It has one little dinky field and another dinkier field. And it's just, when you walk in there, it's like walking into a garage that has a carpet on the floor they play on. I mean, it's just, I'm sorry to say, it's a dump. They have 400 teams from all age groups. And so they start their games at 5:30, and they're playing, their last game starts at 11 for adult leagues every night. So the most that they can play is two teams, they're 40 minutes. So they can play basically 2 teams an hour, and they got 6 hours to do it. So you're only getting 12 teams through there. On these ones, that's per day. On our fields, you turn it because they're full size. I mean, they're bigger than the high school soccer fields. They're 360 long, 180 wide. So they're full legit soccer fields. But for comp leagues, I mean, for the adult leagues, we can actually turn those sideways. We can get 3 on each team, each field, length and width, 3 regulation 7-on-7 soccer fields on both sides. We're gonna have 12 teams running at it per hour. We can run 60 teams a night versus their 12. And we're gonna have concessions and stuff in here. So, you know,
Where would they be located in the building?
so let's see, okay, so the fields are gonna be down here.
Now, when you say down there, that means what?
It's
Below grade?
Yes, below grade. This is grade right here. And then down is 15 feet down. And this is all from that point to that point is all synthetic turf. And the turf that's coming in is the exact same turf that they just put in the Raider Stadium in Vegas.
Okay, so the actual height of the building is gonna be higher than that, given that it's 15 feet below grade?
No, the height
It's
is,
gonna be 70.
yeah, the
Second
ridge
point.
Okay,
will be 70.
So
So
from
the
the,
total inside, it's gonna be 85. From ground level to ridge. But then you're gonna lose like 12 of that for the girders.
okay, so where are the concessions and stuff?
So concessions, let's see, would be as you walk in the front, but it's gonna have a front on it. But if you walk in the front, it's gonna be in the front, then it's gonna be on this back, ground level mezzanine in the back. So the doors coming in here, doors coming in here. So you're gonna walk into the front, and then it's gonna have locker rooms on this side, because during the day, we're gonna have, if you go like on this upper mezzanine right here, this top area, because there's 20 feet clearance from this one to this one. And there's like 25 or whatever from here to here. So up on top of here, we're gonna have along the east and west lengths, we're gonna have 6 full-size pickleball courts. And then going north-south, on the north-south ends, because of those are gonna be 60-foot wide mezzanines, we're having 4 full-size volleyball courts. So we can do comp volleyball, we can do pickleball, we can have, host all kind, and this is the stuff that we've come up with. I'm open for suggestions if you can think of anything else. But I think we've covered a lot of it for
Okay,
sports.
so what kind of price have you considered how much you want to charge people for pickleball stuff? I mean, it's open to the community, but out of fee, I assume, right? So-
Yeah, it's just normal. Most of your fees around here, people are paying about $55 a month.
Okay, so you're into the memberships rather than one-time play.
And the thing is, but that's fluid. It's, whatever at the time, whatever's gonna work best for the community, because that is more like a kind of a bonus type deal. Because as far as for projections, most of the income is not gonna be coming off of that. It's gonna be cutting off the complex, off the adult links, the concessions, that kind of thing. The other stuff is, it was space to use and it made sense. And then, not only so when that's not happening, we can host events, because like right now, like an RV show. Everybody's got to go down to Middle Salt Lake to do anything like that. Everybody up here goes down there. Well, now we've got the space to be able to host anything like that, RV shows, gun shows, home shows, you name it, we've got the space for it. So basically, it's not just a field house, it really turns into an event center. We can host concerts, sky's the limit.
What sort of lighting?
Lighting?
Yes, because if you're gonna have, or if you're suggesting that you could have games until between 11 and midnight, I'm thinking about neighbors and lights.
Oh, you're talking about the exterior lighting.
Yes.
So all the exterior lighting is actually, it's an LED, but they're all aimed. So because the cool thing about it is where this sits, the only place that has housing is back over here. So you put the lights up, all your lights are facing east. So you're not gonna get the shine, you're not gonna get that light pollution into the neighborhood.
Any 70-foot.
Right,
Yeah.
but where are they gonna be located on the building now? Okay, so you're saying that they're shining east, but that's where the houses are.
No, yeah, sorry, they're on the east, shining west, sorry. My bad.
Okay, so they're
They're gonna be that, just like,
building, but they're shining down and
so the ones on the building, those are just gonna be, just for like shining the sides, that's gonna be basically straight down, because we're not gonna use, the building's not gonna be illuminating the parking lot. I'm talking about the lights in the parking. So those lights can be aimed to where, they're not on the west side of the houses on the west side aren't gonna get the light pollution. Because the light's gonna be aimed this direction, and everything as you go across, they're just aiming it down. And even on the east side facing west, they just lower those lights because you can aim them. Just for this reason, the same thing like Walmart and everybody else does.
This action isn't on the height, it's just on the height, so they can put a parking lot too. So, yeah, questions related to the height of the access, what this ordinance is going to change here. Personally, I don't have a problem with the height. You have concerns about the height?
Yep.
Yeah.
With him showing us the building and saying it's just the view to the ridge is 70 feet. Once we approve that 70 foot, he can change that drawing.
Right, but I you can put a building in there, and most of the public comments were just about the big building in there. Not the height. So what difference does that height make?
I think it was the
If they put a flat building that's 70 feet tall, the concern is that he's going to change his design, or the concern is that that's going to be an issue for the neighbors, because I don't think that's going to be an issue for the neighbors.
Isn't that what the public hearing was about?
Yes, but most of what they were concerned about were things like the traffic and water, in fact, they put building back there regardless.
See, now, I understood it differently, but the majority of the concern had to do with height. Everybody knew that they could do to stop the building itself. The height is really behind and the traffic. 750, those two issues.
Well, if you remember back at that meeting, after the meeting, the gentleman that was sitting here and Bill, was it you? Okay, whoever's sitting in that position, after the end of the meeting, he said 5 times. He said to the public, he said it 5 times, I brought up that this meeting was supposed to be strictly for the height restriction. And he said, nobody brought it up. He said, and even when people would come up, they were talking, and he would say, okay, this isn't the time for that. This is about a height restriction only. And nobody brought it up. He said 5 times, because he marked it on his paper. 5 times he said it, and nobody brought it up. So he even said, so obviously height isn't a concern.
Yeah.
That's the exact words.
Were traffic
Traffic was a heavy.
the building at all, privacy, because there's going to be a building next door to my house. Not keeping with the character, light pollution, too little parking. The light pollution, too little parking, don't deal with it. There's not going to be lights at 70 feet, and there's not going to be light pollution from the extra height. Traffic hazard, which I don't see how a building is going to cause a traffic hazard that far from any roads that's going to be on.
Much more traffic on them.
Yes, but most of that will be on 89. Which is
Yeah, the only stuff coming from 750 is just the neighborhood that's gonna be using the building.
What about parking? Events, like the events you were talking about, how much parking we have for that?
So that one be like an overflow, we'll have to, but talking with David Skeen, his whole acreage up on top. You know, we can level all that up and rent that from him for extra parking.
Parking isn't really the height. You can have a building, same square footage with a height.
Brenda, to address your concern that you said about us changing it. The reason that the sides are where they're at is because once you go over a 50-foot column, then it becomes an off order and the price quadruples. Because they can't make them out here. The biggest thing that Newport can make is a 50-foot baby. And so just price alone is gonna keep us from going any higher on that sidewalk.
So my other question for the council is, once we approve the 70-foot variance, will that bring in other, will we have to approve that for other projects that want to go to the city?
In the ordinance, it's a conditional use and specifically for commercial indoor athletic facilities. Specifically including regulation size football fields with the maximum height of 70 feet, provided it has frontage on 8 to property shown general use map as general commercial. That's the wording. So if they did give conditional use and they would have to meet having frontage on commercial zone, having enough land.
So this will be turned the HHI down for, because they were gonna build 2 higher buildings in that. Okay, same neighbor.
So they're lower on 750 West, they're that predates me, my involvement in planning commission, and you really have for taller buildings and manufacturing, so.
And they talk like 75 to start.
For purposes of our discussion, I have in my notes, several people indicated that they had a concern about it. So I specifically included that in my notes because I heard. But
I did want to ask the commission if you're the public comments that. Yes.
the ones that you have, the two.
2 more.
Yes. Love to.
This is Sean, so. Never mind, I'm gonna do you told me not to.
To your question about the ordinance specifically, are you okay if I address that? I wrote this ordinance on behalf of Mark. Just wanted to clarify a couple of things. So you are absolutely correct. The intent of this is to limit the scope of where this can go. So the way you described it, has to have access off of Highway 80, has to be in that CP2 zone, adjacent to future CP2 zone property. So all of those things were purposely written in there. I guess if somebody next door was in the same situation and they wanted to come and build the exact same building and compete, they could, but the likelihood of that is not very. So this was written with those concerns in mind. So this was very specific, very limited as to where it would apply within the city zone. So one other thing I just wanted to bring up quickly, if you'll notice in that ordinance, this was specifically supposed to be for the CP2 zone. It does list a C in that M1 zone as well, the MP1. I wrote it that way. I don't know if you want this to apply to the MP1 zone as well. I don't even know if there's anywhere in the city that would meet that requirement that is zoned. I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Correct. Yeah, so you may just want to strike that if
We may as well move this right.
And then where we border, since we're bordering right on North Ogden, right on Pleasant View. And so there's nothing past that as far as for Harrisville goes, but across the way, I mean, right there, there's 65 feet.
Yeah, 2550 for Pleasant View. They do have 65 foot. It's there, so.
So 5 feet from that.
Okay, Brendan,
So,
about your, are you still?
I will, because I missed the public hearing, I don't know as much as you guys do, so I'm gonna go with your guidance on your recommendations. I will read the letters, there are several letters that they inject to the height.
Yeah, even the ones that we received, well, we see those.
And then another thing while we're waiting for that is, what, you know, when you're talking, we're bringing between this and a restaurant, you know, and everything else, and then we're gonna be employing 150 to 200 people. So I mean, that's another thing that's bringing, plus the tax benefits are about 25,000 a year to others.
So this public comment is from a resident, Christina Norton. Her main concern is regarding what?
Which isn't, and
And the second one is from Arachoa, and he had concerns about the 70 heights and the difference between the 45 feet and the 70 feet. Happy to read that.
we'll read it in the. Yes, it was.
So he reads, my apologies for the delay in sending this. This is written as thoughts and not business type format, just thoughts written down for your consideration. I know that 2 smaller fields have already been approved at 5 feet high, and I'm okay with it. A need for soccer fields, but they use them. Now it's the sex club. The last meeting was to talk about approval for 70 high rooms and access to the 750 west, both of which I know. The difference between the 42 and 70 is that isn't unstable. It says from 750, 70 foot is the access off 750 will obviously increase traffic 750, and to say, well, it's just not true. Anyone who's been to a big event will always look for big leave after the event, so not to sit in traffic, which means there will be cars parked up at 750 and not in the designated time. And to say that it's just not true. To say that the only people who will use the 750 entrance are people that, as the gentleman said at last meeting, is ridiculous to say, and it's simply not true. The fact that the gentleman said it in 1,000 for Harrisville City is false insulting and embarrassing to say and to accept. Maybe that's why they went to Salt Lake State to find him. Now the thought the person could potentially prove that based on their information needs to be asked whether it's denying them. I knew that the big picture for the builder is to build a 70-foot building, which will then pave the way to a hotel of the same color. I give that roof is inevitable. Cities die, but the ask is, does Harrisville need another swimming pool, one just down the street on 2550? Do we really need a recreation center with one being built just down the street on 2250? Do we really need a sex club built anywhere close to where kids are? Do we really need a high-rise hotel in the core area? Maybe one of the most insulting answers that was given in the last meeting of plan never asked if the builder doesn't get the 70-foot lens, would it shut the entire project? Clearly it does, if there's a but tall soccer fields. So again, simply not true. And my thought is if any person thinks up on the street that is going to have a traffic increase by 4 times and then the access of commercial 70-foot tall buildings says that they are okay with that is again just simply not true. If you, the members of the planning commission, the lawyers of the builders, representative of the builders, the institution, themselves were faced with the possibility of of 750 or based with viewed also. Thanks for listening. Please amend to your conscience to stay to the original plans. To that was to your attention so that we did what we committed to residents.
So my question on that is, where do you get his information? We haven't been declined by you. Harrisville City is the only place we've been to. They've been to Salt Lake, I've been to North Plain City, I've been anywhere else. We bought this land and then the idea came up. I mean, anyway. And I don't know where the sex club is. We can have a sex club. If it helped, I could add one. But there's no sex club. You know, so I mean, I'm serious. If it'll help, we can do it. But no, there's everything he says in there is complete, just off the cuff. Not one part of it is legit.
I would like to draw the commissioner's attention to one other request to change based on the last discussion. Which to so added language for that as limitations to discuss possibly allowing on this is the language that staff is recommending. You've got to make changes to that. It just lists out all things. Transportation. Consider eligibility for that connection.
Yeah, I think here's when we future zone. Nobody can put in because there's no ability to get a room. Put a building on those future zone control unless we allow this span to these other as well. Those small fronting future actually develop because it creates some slave progress without nobody on 750 the future commercial building.
And as far as we're talking about future, that area is proposed for a road coming off of exactly where. You know, that all is owned by David Skeen, and he bought it. That house is set up where it's at because it is and has been approved to put it there at some point. So we're not changing anything. It's there already, and David came in, he spoke last time, so that's already approved. There's nothing in here that we've done that isn't already approved.
Just spend a lot for.
Okay, approved, but it's in the plan.
It's
So,
There's a difference between using the word improving versus
okay,
maintain.
but it's in,
So right, but
In-
right,
Just for sure that's.
but it doesn't make sense for people on 750 to be a commercial, future zone commercial, and right now they can't. Without this change.
The recommendation based on some staff is also inclusive of the UDOT corridor agreements that we have that restricts access on those state roads.
Right.
Limits where we can access from city side, so this could potentially help those commercial zones that exist. That can't.
I can't have additional access where. That's for the Eastern.
So that's really change.
So
Staff is recommending. that you-
sorry, I'm still. Lost one, I brought up last time. At least right now, what they're getting is they're getting activity, getting something to do, they're getting a restaurant, they're getting all the stuff that isn't up here. What they're talking about on 2250, I don't know if they're talking somebody's building, there's nobody building any kind of a recreation building.
then
Yeah, it's a rush. Yeah, it's a rush. It's a volume. That's what they're building. It's not a rec center. Yeah. It's not someplace you go out and work out, play anything. You gotta go pay to the bowl. You gotta go play video games. I mean, that's what Rush is. So it's not anywhere near what that person's talking about. But we're bringing jobs, we're bringing entertainment, we're bringing health, we're bringing I mean, everything that's place is starting, we're bringing it up. And we've had so many people calling us, wanting to buy this land from us to put in they want to put an indoor semi-truck mechanics deal. They want a place to make blankets. They want, I mean, so they can have what we're offering, or they can come have something that they're really gonna need. So, I mean, that's their option. So we could sell it. We got all kinds of players, but that's what they're gonna get. They're gonna get like right up the street up here in Plain City, across the road here. They're getting a truss manufacturer. How many people that can employ? You know, what else does anybody do besides stare at the building? So what we're bringing, multiple things to versus it doesn't work. They build a dog food factory. They build a semi trucks. They've got, I mean, Brenda, she's big into real estate. She knows all this stuff. This is commercial land. It's hot commodity. You know, the stuff that's gonna go in here is gonna be way more annoying than what we have.
Can we bring to bear any research that the citizens do? This is your meeting, you could show because that is the city.
So we rely on developer on them doing their assessment of what happened in the city as far as the under 25, they've done a business analysis.
Yeah, it was, yeah, I sent that through you. And so it's a lady that she's worked with Harrisville City multiple times. She's worked with you multiple times. She went through everything we did. She did her own. You know, which she came up with. She's a senior financial advisor for Zion's Bank. So this is what she does. And so she came through. She's the one that put all two together. So these are legit numbers.
So that would be a third party opinion. What the impact would be in a belief
And you have that, I sent it to you. So it's in.
for your application. That's not. Those are considerations for. But what's being discussed tonight is specifically the type of depths of the city. For this ordinance, she wants to make her positive recommendation. The city council approval. What options she'd like to read. Chair.
yeah, so this is great from these other future commercial places, because I can't put it. Because some. So. Just to have sense. To actually transition to without, it's not possible. It's never gonna get, and it shows it. So to get to, we have to start This is, yes, traffic will be an issue, but traffic will be an issue with any.
It's already.
Yeah, it's already an issue without current traffic conditions, not projected future traffic conditions. Most of that. This personal. I understand. Cities have more than we do. And if we don't, we're pushing businesses to other places because they can't get this capability in our city. So I think we should go for it.
So, what do you think, Bill? You persuaded by any argument? Either you persuaded by these arguments?
For judgment, like I said, I don't have information.
It's pretty common. But yeah. You need that. Then my granddaughter soccer game, boy.
Exactly.
Need to allow development, but also need to follow ordinances, so.
This is a request to change our.
I understand it works.
So how do we allow 750 if we don't?
It's access.
So
I'm just saying that the city just and not so one-sided, just yours. You need to understand what we're discussing here.
this is what we're discussing.
I understand.
So if we don't change the ordinance to allow this on 750,
So
that's a no.
I understand. I'm just saying, would you please respect what some of us are discussing and so one-sided?
Focus, the two things we're changing. And the. So most of the comments weren't. The chair. Maybe. So versus a 7. We can go to 40. And so that doesn't help us to make a legal action. And so those comments were, we don't want the building there. So
And forgiving us. I think we're in the discussion.
So I understand it. Your concern, I still understand why that's. Yeah. I'll entertain motion.
So the two biggest concerns are the access and concerns. Is already about. I know this already. And you wonder how they conceived the building would look. How he's kind of explaining the building would be pitched. The walls would be shorter. Height of the center would be. Only about 2 feet of that building would be 70 feet. That's the it's going to start stretching. And so the height of the walls would be pretty, about 46, 47, somewhere there. So there's a 20-foot. Or 200. So it's, I think it's like a 1.6 per 12. As far as pitch. There's going to be a lot of. But you know, interesting, if we approve this, set it on favorable, the city council, the city may
That's correct. That's why we have.
be the checking balance. Not that I think their opinions.
I would say I would agree too, and we'll let city council make that decision.
750, if I don't have to be concerned about how that. Sensitive issue. And I just have always been concerned that we get ahead. So that we don't have to end up trying to make up for it in the end. So I'm thinking that this part of the city, commercial. Okay, if it's okay with you all, fine. That's awesome. I need this. And I don't do this lightly, and people feel that we're considering their opinions. However, we keep Harrisville long term. I see a great deal of benefit for some of the city. It's just the way. We get that threat. Okay. I motion to recommend approval of the proposed ordinance to change to ordinance 550, amending the CP2 commercial zone height requirements for the indoor commercial athletic facility from what's currently listed to 70 feet. Is it 45 feet?
The current code is
From 45 to 70.
Should we have a second?
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Okay. Let's to discussion item number 5, which is a discussion action to approve conditional use permit for Blu Pearl Aesthetics located at 2070. We could have applicant come up with their questions and explain a little bit about what you're trying to do here.
We're way more. So I am retired. I want to do something in my retirement that I didn't go work for somebody else, such as the boss. So this is our house. To esthetician school 15-ish years ago. And then I have to work for the government because I have a teenage daughter. So now we are empty nesters, and I fell in love with skincare aesthetics. And I would just like to be able to do a couple of those a day. I don't know. But because this is located at my home, it used to be our 10-minute for people staying 10 minutes. We've converted that.
Okay, can you explain where in your house you would
Yes.
do this?
Yes. Picture's not good. So as you walk in the front door, we have added another double door to the left. And that is the room that's closest to the street. We also added another door that separates our home. So it's private. So that's where it's located in the house. Okay.
I'm sorry, I didn't interrupt. It was just a very small room just off the entryway into the house. It was open, had two fully open doors, three really, one going into the living room, one going into that room, another one going out of that room into a hall. And that's where the bedrooms and stuff are. We call it 5 minute square, but people in for a very short stay. So we thought 12 by 12 maybe. So it's been a challenge trying to make everything she's gonna need fit, but we've made it work. So yeah, I think it's really ideal. Our concern was that your concern would be parking. And then because it's in a residential neighborhood where customers would be coming. So yeah, that's it. So you see the huge driveway we have. So there would always only be one customer at a time. She's got to give at least a half hour between customers. So she can get ready for the next. So she's talking 2, maybe 3 a day tops. So parking just simply wouldn't be an issue. We better always be parking in the driveway. Wouldn't be anybody on the street.
What would you list as your hours?
Gosh, I don't know,
What?
maybe,
Hours of operation.
mostly all day, birthday.
Yeah.
So 9 to 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just schedule whenever it suits you,
Yep,
do that.
we want to go to San Diego. We're in here.
Any use of chemicals that, and would you, if you do use chemicals, how would you use them and get rid of them?
I am a master esthetician, and so I've been trained to do all of that. I don't want to do all of that. I want to do the fluffy stuff. So, I will be using what they call enzyme masks and stuff like that. But I don't want to poke anybody, inject anybody, burn the flesh off their face. I don't want anything to do with that. I just want fluff and love.
No hazardous waste.
Yeah.
Nothing down the drain, without a permit.
Correct.
So that.
Yeah.
Concerns, got it. So.
No.
Our roof is plenty high enough.
Also, are you selling anything there or just providing service?
I do have a license to sell products, but it's not gonna be like a retail. If they want to order something, they pay me, I order it, and it drop ships from them to their house, so there's no like retail traffic or anything.
Store house.
No.
Yeah. Ordinance, they see is 25% floor space, so here it's gonna be less than a quarter house, so that's why it's the area, so you turn half your house into a business.
Yeah. We like our house, we have children back to live with us and. we're happy.
Excuse me. Okay.
Through these. Yeah. User is it just
Sweet. The speed limit's 25 on this.
Traffic. Stuff and parking.
There's no through streets. I mean, it's like a. Yeah,
Okay. So, the ordinance will come up with an issue, so. Concerns?
Says you extend it, so. Yeah, really, it's not that. You know, the quality of life.
Just the motion could be subject to the.
Good,
Application. Status, I have any concerns about. Showing this conditional use permit.
I'd like to make a motion to approve conditional use permit for Blu Pearl Aesthetics located at 2174 225 West, based on our Harrisville City Municipal Code and hours of operation. What is it?
So, yeah,
7 a.m. to, yes, the code says 7 a.m. to 10 p.m., which you probably recommend.
Nope. We're sound asleep by then.
Also,
all in favor?
Hi,
Aye.
Okay, thank you very much.
have a great evening.
Carries.
So there is there's an appeal period. Once the appeal period is completed, then the conditional use permit of the city, you can come up and sign.
Okay, do you know what?
It's 10 days. So I went to see you.
All right, and then you said something about the codes, so there's.
So you're subject to the application code.
Okay,
To show the bill.
25% of your house being used for it. Your stuff outside for it. Your vehicle, daycare, your house, most of the rest of it. That's not.
Okay. okay, perfect, thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening.
So that's agenda number 6.
Justin, you're the only. If you're here in official capacity.
And then. We can.
Does anybody online wish to, we need to formally?
It's just another. So we're good.
We don't.
Hearings we do. We don't. We'll move on. There's no public comment. And we'll get our agenda for 7, which is commission and staff follow-up. Any follow-up? Anybody? We got the one agenda of the training. So
we received an invitation by Pleasant View. They're holding a land use training that meets the requirements for the hours required at training hours. That is June 27th from 6:30 to 8:30. Pleasant View Sleep. If you're going to be in attendance, please let me know. So I can- that's Tuesday. And so I can just let city people will be attending that. We did invite the city council as well. And we have 2 other invitations to draw to your attention. We have a formal invitation for building ceremony, which will be held on Wednesday, June 28th at 10 a.m. We've invited the representative speaker as well.
Hard sleep.
Yep, yes.
Yeah.
Shop is right here.
And we also, Councilmember Williamson here, we have started a senior luncheon program. Stations here, we are seeing for help in public. Thank you. I will send you this. So we would encourage you to take these to your senior neighbors or any like to join this is calendar. That's for the speaker.
Oh, great.
Thank you. That's all that stuff. And so-
Well, I would love to know what the latest is on our golf course.
So Ben Loman Views had a financial advisor sent to city council and Senate about creating a PID, which is a public infrastructure district that interest or tax financing, anything that will eventually be dedicated to the city as public infrastructure. The city council all agreed to let them give a proposal to the city on what that entails. What it essentially does in a nutshell is allows them to take out low interest financing portion of the value to help the project get a. And once this lot's settled, they pay off the special assessment associated with that. See, and it does city council's approval to create that district. So they would be preparing to the city future dates as we negotiate through that. City council will have some stipulations on it in the PID, but that's the latest on for them.
So right now, financially, they're unable to move forward with any of the things that we've already.
Correct.
Okay, that's a bummer. Okay, that's really unfortunate. Okay, thank you.
There's nothing else. Motion to adjourn.
Going.
Good, I'm so glad.
We have a second.
Favor? Aye. Yeah.